Hey guys, Captain Mike, Whiskey and Literature coming at you tonight with a bourbon battle, specifically the single barrel proof bourbons. These are two of the highest proof whiskeys that I have in my house. I have a couple that are more, and this is actually a slightly lower proof Jack Daniel's single barrel proof than another one that I have. What we have here is, like I said, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof Tennessee whiskey, and we have Grand Traverse Distillery cask strength single barrel bourbon. Now, this might be a strange one for you. You might not be able to find, in fact, I'm going to say you cannot find Grand Traverse Distillery single barrel cask strength bourbon unless you live in Michigan. Mrs. Captain and I were there in April. We were there to celebrate her birthday and go do some winery tours, and she was good enough to allow me to go to, and her as well, to the Grand Traverse Distillery, do a distillery tour, do a tasting, and I picked up a bottle, not from the distillery, but from their tasting room, which was downtown Traverse City. The tour was very nice, and we had just done the Jack Daniel's distillery tour in October last year, and you could not contrast two distilleries more differently than these two. Jack Daniel's, so rich in heritage, such a huge corporation, and the distillery was massive. Grand Traverse Distillery, I think Ken Rabish said they do 6,000 cases per year, which is a drop in the bucket to Jack Daniel's. And the tour was very nice. It was done by the founder and the operator of Grand Traverse Distillery, Ken Rabish. He was great, did a really nice tour. We really enjoyed seeing how they do the whiskey there. And it was great to compare that to the Jack Daniel's tour and the distillery that we saw in October last year. But let's talk about these bourbons and see how they're similar and how they're different. This is Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This whiskey is pulled from the top of the rick house. As we understand it, it's non-age stated, believed to be 4 to 7 years old. They're pumping this out between 120 or 125 or so and 140 proof. And honestly, when I go to the store these days, one of the first things that I do is walk over to the Jack Daniel's section and I look at the single barrel proofs, and I have one here that's 129.8 proof. The other bottle that I have is 131.9. It is unopened right now. I'm just kind of looking to see if I can find a bottle that is higher than 131.9, and if so, I'll pick it up. And honestly, most of the bottles I've been seeing lately have been in the 127, 128 range. If you're interested, because it is a single barrel, this is from the Barrel House 2-11, barrel number 22-02229. Bottling date was 2/28/22. Like I said, 129.8 proof. It's a very nice whiskey. The Grand Traverse Distillery, this is 80% corn, 12% malted barley, and 8% rye. That's the mash bill for Jack Daniel's. Grand Traverse Distillery. This was barreled on 8/7/2015, bottle 4/11/2023. So almost 8 years old, 7.5 years old. This is 137.8 proof, barrel number 338. Any other information about which specific? Nope. And that's what we get, bourbon cask strength, a single barrel. We had a great time doing their tour, and we had a great time at their tasting room downtown. So I would suggest if you go to Traverse City, which was great. We went there for the wine, and we did this tour as well, and it was a fantastic time. So Traverse City should be on your destination list. I wouldn't go there specifically for Traverse Distillery, but I believe Traverse City whiskey also is pretty close to there if you wanted to go do and compare both those distilleries. But I've had this in the Glencairn here for over half an hour, just kind of sitting here and swirling it. You can see I've had a few pours out of this whiskey, 137.8 proof, and you know you're living when you're drinking this whiskey. This has been sitting in the glass here for probably 10 or 15 minutes. It's been a while since I've had any of this. I really like the single barrel select from Jack Daniel's. I think it's one of their best products. And I do remember this being also a fantastic whiskey. I haven't had any in a minute. So well, let's go into the Grand Traverse. I'm being very careful because I have stuck my nose in the glasses of this before, and it is pretty strong. I get a lot of ethanol, to be honest with you, on this nose. I can't get too close to it. I feel like I get a hint of, I want to say some smoke or smoked, maybe some smoky wood. That's really one of the few notes that I'm getting on the nose of this. I haven't put any water in here. This is neat, but it's been sitting in the glass, like I said, for about 30-35 minutes. It is a little bit approachable. Not a lot of notes I'm not getting from that, but there is quite a bit of alcohol on that nose. Whereas the Jack Daniel's, again, 129.8 proof. It is, I feel like it's more approachable than the Grand Traverse Distillery. You can stick your nose almost all the way in there. Get that, man, I get that rich buttery note. Maybe a bit of butterscotch on the nose. It's much sweeter than the Grand Traverse. Oh, did I say the mash bill on this is 60% corn, 30% rye, and 10% malted barley. So it is going to be a spicier, not only from the higher proof, but also the much higher rye content. Almost had a grassy note right there. You know, back to that banana note. I do really like the nose of the Jack Daniel's products. It's a little more, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I feel like it's almost a little more subtle than some of the other products that I've had as far as the notes. Oh, there was a little bit of alcohol there. Man, I really like the Jack Daniel's. It is a far nicer note than the Grand Traverse Distillery. Sorry, Ken. Man, that proof is really noticeable. Can you hear it? But it's the same notes as Jack Daniel's products, and I really like it. It's that rich banana note, some caramel on there, and man, I'm digging that. The mouthfeel is really great. The finish is nice. I do think the single barrel proof that Jack Daniel's puts out can be one of their best products that they have. I do like the single barrel Select. I just bought the Sinatra Select, and I would put the Sinatra Select even at as the highest MSRP of all the Jack Daniel's products. I would slot it behind the single barrel Select if you had to rank just the Jack Daniel's products. I do like the bottle, and it looks great on the shelf, and I'm super happy to have it. It's a sentimental product for me, but I would put that taste-wise and flavor-wise behind the single barrels from Jack Daniel's. All right, Grand Traverse Distillery, Cask Strength Bourbon, going in. This is the highest proof whiskey that I've ever had in my life. I've only been drinking whiskey since 2019. Wow. Wow, that is super dry. Like, it's in my mouth and I can just feel it. We lived in Las Vegas for a lot of years, and I'm familiar with that dryness of the air in Las Vegas. I feel like my mouth just turned into a desert with this in it. Oh, man, the alcohol, I don't know if it's just the alcohol evaporating like immediately, or what the deal is, but I almost felt like I poured this in my mouth and my mouth got drier. I could taste some grains on it, that spice from the rye. I do really like the rye. That note and the on this is great, but it's really overshadowed by the ethanol. There's almost no sweetness in here. Wow. Man, it just feel like it just turns my mouth into a desert. Oh. Yeah, that spice hits me, the alcohol hits me, and that's all that I'm getting off of this Grand Traverse Distillery. I have had a couple pours that I dropped a little bit of water in it, and it does allow it to breathe a little bit and open up a bit more, but you're basically just cutting down that proof, and it does allow the flavors and the taste to shine a little bit more. But just neat like this, like I guess you've got to do it once or twice, but I'm not gonna say it's undrinkable in this state unless you really, really like dry and high proof whiskeys with a lot of ethanol and a bit of rye spice. This would be your jam. I paid $80 for this bottle, you know, and I cannot drink this neat. I've had it a little bit in here, and I mean, if we're doing a battle here between these two whiskeys, you know, obviously I'm just gonna take it, especially if you're sipping neat, I'm gonna take the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Hands down. I'm sorry, Ken. Dude, I loved your tour. You were great. But I'm gonna give it to the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof here, of course. It also is less expensive. I think this is don't quote me on this. I think this is about $70, maybe $79. I can't remember exactly what I paid for this, but it was less than the Grand Traverse single barrel here, and I would take this hands down. You have some flavor, you have a nice mouthfeel, you can actually taste the whiskey on the finish, and so it's just a clear winner for me. I haven't put this in a cocktail. This I think is sippable neat. Might be nicer with just maybe a hint of water or one small ice chip in it. But this, maybe I'll put it in a cocktail and I'll do another review here with the Grand Traverse Distillery in a cocktail. It'd be interesting. I've had the Wild Turkey Rare Breed in a cocktail, which is great at 116.8 proof, and it just carries right through. I'm interested in how this would do in a cocktail. And maybe I'm gonna end this video and go make myself an old fashioned right now. But for today, for this video, it is hands down Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. And how about you? Have you had this Jack Daniel's single barrel proof? I have 129.8 and I have 131.9. Again, I haven't opened this one. I'm trying to get into this one here a little bit more, and I'm on the hunt for a higher proof one. But I haven't been able to find a higher proof single barrel proof in months. And I walk in every whiskey store that I walk in, I look and see, do they have a higher proof one than this one? Haven't seen them. All right, my friends, I hope you're reading something good and drinking something great. Turn those pages, my friends, and stay thirsty. Cheers.